This feeling of I can't be asked, I just can't be bothered. There's nothing worse than it, is there? I mean, there are times when you remember at the end of the day that there's something you should have gotten done in the day. Sometimes you make a promise to yourself in the morning, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then the day just slips by you. And you remember at night the promise you had made to yourself. And of course, you feel bad, you feel guilty about it. But the times when you know in the moment that there's something you should be doing right now, when the promise was to get started with your work at 4 p.m. and you're looking at the clock at 4 p.m. and you clearly remember every single word of that promise you'd made, and then you don't do it. The disgust, the revulsion you feel toward yourself. In that one moment, you lose any ounce of self-respect you had for yourself. Do you want to know the simple one-step solution to this problem? Dream. Dream about that mansion. Dream about that sports car. Dream about that flagship phone. Dream about that premium watch. Dream about whatever it is that you want. Allow yourself to experience this feeling. Allow yourself to desire things, to crave things. Fuck those people who say don't be materialistic. Go and get whatever it is that you want out of your life, man. It's your life. You only get to live it once. If there's one thing I hate about my younger self, it was his passivity. You see, he had bought into the materialism is bad and you shouldn't care about having things. And so he never had the motivation to do anything. Like, what am I working for then? If there's nothing that I want, if there's nothing lacking in my today, why put myself through discomfort? Why trouble myself? It's the wants, it's the desires that motivate us to put in the work. I'm not just making this up, by the way. Let me explain to you the science behind this. Dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical responsible for all of this. It's also a chemical that is very misunderstood in today's day and age. Most of us believe that dopamine is the molecule of pleasure. But in actuality, dopamine is the molecule of pursuit of pleasure. Dopamine is what motivates us. Dopamine is what makes us crave things. There's this very popular experiment that beautifully demonstrates the role of dopamine. Let me give you a quick, brief summary of it. A rat is taken and put into a small cage where it's left to freely move about and explore. Now, there's a lever. You can think of it as a small button in the cage. And while exploring, the rat happens upon that lever, it accidentally presses upon it. And it gets a reward. It gets something that it really likes to eat. Gradually, the rat learns that pressing the lever gets it a reward, and so it continuously starts hitting the lever. Now you take that same rat and deplete it of dopamine, and you put it 5 inches away from the lever, and it won't bother to take even a single step towards the reward. What's interesting is that if you give the rat its reward anyway, it will enjoy it just as much. So you see, dopamine doesn't affect how enjoyable a reward is, only how much effort you would be willing to put in to get that reward. Sound familiar? You want the reward. You want to be rich, you want to be successful, you would love to be. But you're not taking even a single step towards it, are you? You're in this perpetual state of, I can't be bothered. Now you take that same rat and pump it up full of dopamine, and it will zoom through the whole cage non-stop in search for that lever. We all want to be like that dopamine pumped rat, but often find ourselves behaving like the depleted one, don't we? But how do you start acting like the pumped one? You can't just go and inject yourself up full of dopamine, but you can make your brain secrete dopamine. I happened upon this realization by accident. See, all of my life, I never believed that I could achieve anything, that I could make anything out of my life. So, to cope with this fact, I had convinced myself, I said, I don't care about material things. I don't need riches and luxuries. I just want to be happy. And then I started working upon my mental health and I actually became happy. Within a few months of that, I achieved something massive for the first time in my life. And I gradually started to think, wait, why can't I succeed? Why can't I make something of my life if someone else can do it? What's wrong with me? And I subconsciously at first started to desire things again, like I used to when I was a kid. I would often catch myself daydreaming about having things. And I started to see 100-time increase in my motivation and dedication in working towards my goals. And this still is my biggest source of motivation today. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I made this video titled, I lost the Hamza contest, right? In it, I talked about how I visualized improving my setup with the prize money from the contest. I talked about getting better lighting, better background lights, better audio, better video. But there's one more thing that I wanted that I didn't share with you because I felt embarrassed about it. That's exactly the stigma that I'm trying to erase over here. After all of this, with the leftover money, I wanted to get myself an Apple Watch. All the rest of it was for professional reasons, but I wanted just this one thing for myself too. And I swear to you, I don't think I've ever put in work like I did for those few weeks. Anytime I felt a little lazy, a little lethargic, I would literally just turn my wrist like this. I would turn my empty hand, empty wrist like this and visualize looking at the time on my watch. You can do this for literally anything. The smallest of things. I mean, how much would background lights cost, really? I could easily ask my parents to get them for me, right? But it's these little motivators that give me that boost every day. I have this mouse and it fucking sucks compared to the trackpad, especially while editing these videos. This thing is a fucking pain, man. I want that trackpad more than anything, and every time I look at this mouse, it gives me that boost. This mouse pad that I have, it's my brother's gaming mouse pad. I want a big, clean, matte black aesthetic mouse pad. How much would that cost? I won't even have to ask my parents to get it for me. I could literally right now go to Amazon and buy any mouse pad that I want. I mean, look at this thing. It's hideous. It's a gaming mouse pad, dude. I am a self-improvement YouTuber, a recovering gaming addict who has to look at this hideous thing for 10 hours a day. And for those 10 hours a day, I have that extra boost of motivation. Use these little things. Use these motivators. It doesn't even have to be things, right? You could visualize a trip to Europe, visualize going to Paris, visualize skydiving, visualize scuba diving. The point of these visualizations is to make you crave things, because it's that craving that will make your brain release dopamine, and it's that dopamine that will make you go from the first rat who won't even move 5 inches to get a reward right in front of it, to the second rat who sprints towards his reward, who puts in the work every day and stays motivated, stays disciplined, and most importantly, makes progress every single day towards achieving that reward. That's all I have for you today, guys. Make your dreams a reality, one day at a time. What did you think of that catchphrase? Drop me a comment, let me know. Let's see how many of you stuck around till the end. Make your dreams a reality, one day at a time. I have a good feeling about this one, man. I think it's gonna stick.